see some really cute sightings of them. Okay, well, we're going to rush you back to James. My earpiece pulled out, so you probably would have wanted to be there a little bit sooner. Anyway, over to him, enjoy, and we will see you a bit later.
Hello everybody, sorry to drag you away from Scott. We think we might lose Sindile. He is in, as you can see, quite a lot of bush. I don't know if I can go further than this. I certainly don't know if I'm going to get out of here. Sindile, stop moving. Right, well, that's as far as I can go, everybody. So we'll just have a quick look and see if we lose sight of him. He's definitely on the prowl for something. But I am now in a thicket, the likes of which I don't think I've ever experienced before. While we're sitting here, I just wanted to let you know that we did, and I will show you when Sindile disappears, but we did have a magnificent sighting of some fresh Gowrie flowers that have just popped out as a sign of spring, and I'll show them to you and let you smell them, virtually of course, if this leopard disappears. You can maybe hear the sound of a green wood hoopoo calling in the background, shouting at the leopard, which is now doing what leopards do best, well, second best, they sleep best. That's disappear. Well done, Vian, that's brilliant. Very cool. You can just see him there. Isn't that great? Look up. That's a wonderful example of how camouflaged he is and what a brilliant pelage he has. And you can see a bit of greenery around where we are now. But that greenery belongs almost exclusively now to Gowrie bushes, so things are getting very dry. And while that's not so bad for Sindile, obviously it's difficult for the herbivores. And Tiens in Margate, well, welcome Tiens, from the south coast of Natal in South Africa. You want to know, would we ever feed the animals? Would we ever put down food during dry times? Tiens, in an open system like this, where it's as near to open as we can hope for, 3.5 million hectares, no, we wouldn't feed the animals. I'm afraid we'd just let nature take its sometimes rather difficult course. And here a laughing dove just landed above old Sindile there. Oh, now he's going. he's laying down. Okay, I'm going to attempt one more move forward before we get completely stuck. Wish me luck. While I do that, this is the magic Gowrie bush, and you can see the little white flowers on it, and they have a delicious smell. There goes the leopard. They just sort of smell sweet. A sweet, sort of slightly spicy smell. Lovely. And there, that's brilliant. If you find the leopard on that shot, I'll be most impressed. I think you need to come a little to the right.
It's worth a try. There you go.
You can hear that there's a white-browed scrub robin alarm calling at him. I'm going to attempt a little move forward. Might result in us never leaving here again, but for the cause there is no too great a sacrifice. take that back. We're not going anywhere just yet. Okay, I think rather than wait here and watch us try and dig ourselves out, pop across to Scott. He's got a wonderful sunset. And Via, maybe you just want to show the... No, you can't even see it from there. We'll go across to Scott and show you the sunset, and I will hopefully see you just now with a little leopard.
Welcome back. And Andrew and I have not moved very far from where you last hurriedly left us, and are enjoying the tranquility that is the African bush as the sun begins to set. I'm really curious to know, when is Shadow eventually going to return to Sindile, or has she potentially already met up with him just without any of our knowing? But I'm sure James has discussed that in depth with you. Hopefully tomorrow Shadow and Sindile will meet up. The Birmingham boys will come back for a visit. Those are my two hopes. Although a wild dog sighting and a cheetah sighting would also go down quite well, I feel. Andrew and I were really disappointed that the hyena den was not active when we went there earlier, because we both haven't spent time with the hyena for a while. Well, happy to hear that we've already warned Sonia about the fireside chats and what to look forward to there. So this night, this Sunday night coming, the last half an hour of the safari will be the fireside chat, where we sit around that campfire that I showed you a bit earlier. And if you've just tuned in before I showed you that, well then, tune in again on Sunday and you'll get to see the full show. While we wait for the sun to dip down, I can answer a question sent through from Charlie and Pamela. And I guess you're also interested in this, Sonia, and a lot of the other viewers. They've asked, have any interesting visitors arrived unannounced at any of the fireside chats? And there certainly have been a few. The most exciting one was probably this time last year, or November last year, during Big Cat Week. What happened was Peter Pretorius and Hayden Turner, two other presenters who you will be meeting again in the coming months, were doing the first fireside chats of the broadcast, and you wouldn't believe what happened. Kunyuma, a young male leopard, walked right into the shot where Hayden was, right behind where Hayden was sitting in front of the fire. Kunyuma was up in a marula tree, probably only 50 meters away, and he climbed up while Hayden was sitting there. So for those of you who are watching, you were lucky enough to cut from Peter, who was following Kunyuma with the spotlights and filming, and then cutting back to Hayden, who was sitting at the campfire with a leopard in the tree behind him. But we have also had a few elephant walking past, not too close, though, no problems with elephants, and one or two hyena sniffing about. but nothing to be concerned about yet. No visits from lion. So that's one that we'll hopefully see in the coming months. But for now, it's mainly been leopard, hyena, and elephants in terms of the dangerous animals that we've seen. Anyway, we must get back to the sunset because it's about to start dipping below the horizon. You can hear quite a few francolins calling. What I'm going to suggest to a lot of you is to tune into the Djuma waterhole camera in about an hour or two's time, because the audio at the moment is so crisp and clear because there's not much vegetation which will absorb the noises, and you can hear a host of different owls calling and a lot of the birds around the waterhole. I can hear a woodpecker now drumming, which is actually for communication. It's no longer looking for food. Listen again. Nope, it seems to have gone quiet. Anyway, like I said, tune into the Djuma waterhole cam, not to watch, but simply to listen. The noises last night were absolutely wonderful, and I'm sure tonight will be no difference. Got an interesting question through from Joan, also on the topic of birds, and Joan has mentioned that she would like to come out to the Sabi Sands on safari, but she fears that because she's so interested in the ornithology and the birds, that being with other guests, it may not work out well, and would they cater for you, being a strong birder? And it's a tough one, Joan, because as a guide you have to cater for everyone's needs on your vehicle, and usually being a birder you are the odd one out. But there are certain lodges that will offer you the ability to hire a private Land Rover, so only you and whoever you're traveling with will be on that vehicle, but it obviously comes at a cost. And if you do have your own guide, well then it becomes easy. You can tell him exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it, because he is only catering for your needs and not as other guests. And a lot also does depend on which lodge you go to. Some lodges will have a maximum of 6 guests on their vehicles, whereas others may have more and up to 9 or 10. So the more people that you get diluted amongst, the less of your requests, understandably, the guide can only fulfill so much. So, like I said, a private Land Rover or private vehicle is a good option, but it does come at a cost. The other option is to entice enough of your friends and birdwatching pals to come with you on the safari, and if there are enough of you to fill one vehicle, then again you will be able to tell your guide exactly what you want to do. Happy to hear that there's a lot of birders watching this afternoon's show, and James has got back to us. James mentioned that he started his bird list, and I was sure it was October last year, but thanks for confirming that, which was on the first drive when we started broadcasting, and I wasn't even around then. I only arrived at the end of November. And James says that one bird he would like to add to his list of 208 birds is the lesser striped swallow. So that is what I'm going to try and do for you. as we're about to take Ingwe Alley Road, which is Leopard Road, Ingwe is a leopard, I'm going to send you over to James.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Wendy, who has just extricated us from the midst of a thicket, well, with bush probably more dense than the matter at the heart of a neutron star, but here we are, and there is Sindile, who is lying. He was starting to stalk, and then he just kind of went down in that stalkish / restful pose. He looks a bit like a house cat at the moment. And I'm going to try and sneak a little bit forward so that we can get a better view of him. He did cross this rather fiendish drainage line. And is that any good, Vian?
Not really. Navigating will work.
It'll work. Thank goodness. So you can see how, especially in this light, he is perfectly coloured for his sort of nocturnal hunting activities. Now he's just so much more alert than he was during the heat of the day. And I suspect, like we're going to be out half an hour later tomorrow, I suspect that extra half an hour with him would definitely sort of provide possibly some more time for him to do some hunting, because it'll be a bit darker and a bit cooler. But you can see how if you were walking through here as a duiker or steenbok or bushbuck trying to find your way through the terrifying night, you would have no idea that one of Africa's most efficient hunters was lying here in the shade of a tambuti grove, and well, there are various other gnarled and tied up bushes around here as well. Sindile has now, in typical fashion, gone to sleep. I'm afraid I don't think that I can get any closer to him without creating a major disturbance, either to the workings of Wendy or Sindile's sweet relaxation. You heard something behind us there. So we'll just see if he gets up. Otherwise, we will probably leave him after not too long. Well, we've only got a few minutes left of drive, so we'll probably stay with him to the end and see what he does. And it's this time, it's extended periods with these leopards. So Brent spent, 2.5 hours with him this morning. We've spent almost 3 hours with him this afternoon, and Scott spent some time with him a few days ago, and basically there's been somebody with him continuously for the last 7 days. And that's how we truly learn about these animals. A lot of it is spent watching Sleeping Cat, but the rest of the time, excuse me, is extremely informative. And we learn things that the books don't tell you about all the time. Especially in special cases like this, where the leopard, he's in an abnormal situation where his mother is off trying to make him some siblings, and he's too young to be going independent, in theory. It'll be fascinating to see if he makes it. The first thing that Lex said to me when he came into the sighting was, "Do you think he's finished?" Basically meaning, it's a matter of time until he either starves to death or he's found by some other predator. Now that remains a risk. Let there be no misunderstanding that he, I think, is still in the balance. His life is not going to be easy from here. But at the same time, he's doing much better than I think any of us thought he would after 7 days. Shadow will eventually come back into this area. Whether she will call him or not, I don't know. But if he does find her, he'll tag on with her, and they'll do some hunting together, I'd imagine. Or if she hunts, he will certainly try and share the kills with her. So as long as he can hang on for that long, I think he's going to be okay. But he is definitely at risk. And that's going to be the drama that unfolds here in the next little while, is how this young male leopard of about 12 months is able to survive alone. As we've said before, some of the females have gone independent at 8 months, but like their human counterparts, the males are slightly slower developers than the female leopards. And that makes his things a bit more difficult for him, especially as he's about to hit puberty. You can hear lots of different bird activity. I'm just going to be quiet for the next 20 seconds, and I'll tell you what we can hear. So I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a Coqui Franklin calling. There's still some robins in the drainage line. There were some crested franklins and arrow-marked babblers. But as we turned up the audio, so all the birds went silent, became bashful, and stopped calling. We're also at that time of the day that's known as the changing of the guard. And the changing of the guard means that the diurnal animals will stop calling. There'll be a brief silence, brief period, lovely time of the day, around about now. And then the nocturnal animals will start to call. Scops owls in the drainage lines. That excessively noisy franklin. And then, of course, what we've been hearing a lot lately is the fiery-necked nightjar, which apparently says, "Good Lord, deliver us. Good Lord, deliver us." And they call a lot. Maybe the odd giant eagle owl. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. This is the last sessions of the crested franklins calling each other, telling each other where their territories are. There you can hear the babblers. So, lots of sounds going on here, and Sindile hasn't moved in the slightest since we last saw him. He is up and looking around though. And I'm not, just to reiterate, I'm not going to put a light on him. He's probably old enough for us to do that, but because he's been on his own for a while, I don't want to do anything that might jeopardize his chances of catching something to eat as we go into the evening. There's quite a bright moon out tonight. There's no wind, and that's going to make hunting for him pretty difficult. And that's why he'll probably stick. You can hear the babblers there. It's two flocks having a little territorial dispute. And so he's going to stick to the thick bush, I think, tonight, to try and avoid the bright light cast by the moon. Shall we just have a quick look at the moon? If you don't mind, while Sindile does not much at all. It's up there in the sky. There it is. The waxing moon. And you can see that is going to cast a very beautiful dim blue glow over the Lowveld tonight. It's a very warm evening and there's no wind to speak of. So it's going to be pretty difficult for little Sindile to hunt in the open. It actually looks rounder on your screen than it does in real life. It looks almost full on the screen. It is a waxing moon, so I think it'll probably be full in about 2 or 3 days' time. You might just be able to hear the oxpeckers coming home to roost. They'll come to land. You've seen some of the dead trees. In fact, the one that Liam flicked up onto underneath the moon is the kind of tree that an oxpecker will come and snooze in. They nest in tree holes lined with the animal fur that they glean from the animals that hold the ectoparasites and blood that they like to eat. Show you a last glimpse of lazy Sindile, who gave a great performance this morning, but has been somewhat more. He's acted within himself this morning, this afternoon. There you can hear the oxpecker. I'm sure they've got a little nesting hole in the tree above us. Such a magnificent time of the day. There, the oxpecker actually just went into its nest. Can you see him there, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's flown out. As I pointed at him, he flew away. That was the tree in which he was sitting, and that's the kind of tree that's going to have a hole in it, and that's where an oxpecker will take refuge during the darkness. You can see the little hole behind the bark. That's where he came out of. I'm sure he'll come back when we eventually disappear. We're going to go back across to Scott quickly. He's with the buffalo at the Gowrie Dam cam, and I believe that buffalo is in a bad way. We'll just go and have a quick look, and we'll stay with Sindile. If he does disappear off into the bush, well, then that's just bad luck for us. But we'll stay with him until the end and see you just now.
Welcome back, everyone. Shame this big old boy is looking worse for wear. This is the same buffalo that some of you alerted us to. He's been here the whole of last night and the whole of today, and this is, I'm guessing, the first time he's moved in close to 24 hours, and you can tell by the way that he is moving. He's not in good shape. He can hardly put one foot in front of the other. It doesn't look like the same individual that had a wounded back leg, even though he's moving very slowly. I think that's because of his general condition. And maybe he's got some illness. that's caused him to become so weak. Or maybe it's just old age. He would be no match for lion in this state, and I'm sure it'll be either the Nkuhumas or the Birmingham coalition that bring him down. We could, however, also be surprised by hyena in a scenario like this. Hyena are very opportunistic and very powerful animals, especially when they team up in clans. And it could even be hyena that bring this guy down. Failing that, they will be first on the scene if and when he does pass. And I don't think he's going to recover from this. If summer was around the corner, there would be a chance, and you see some incredible turnarounds from the herbivores who look very, very weak, but hang on just until those first rains, and as soon as the rejuvenation comes, animals that are on the brink can quickly regain health and strength. But I don't think he's going to make it, this guy. And like I said earlier on Drive when we were discussing this, you've always got to remember in these sad moments that the sadness and death of one animal will mean joy and good fortune for another. And it all is part of the circle of life. It has to happen. And we're no different as humans. All of us will one day come to the end of our lives and form back into the food chain, less naturally so than he will. But imagine if, you know, the very hungry pride of lion that haven't managed to make a kill for some time come across this bull. It would be a huge bonus for them. And Lisa's just sent through a message on Twitter saying this is when human intervention is necessary. Well, Lisa, if he is dying of old age, I'm not sure what more you would like us to do. And it is sad, but this is the way nature has it, and nature must play out till the end. If we were to intervene and even put this animal down and leave it here for hyena to feed on, we would unfairly be aiding the hyena and not helping a pride of lion that may be powerful enough and bold enough to kill this bull before he dies. So if we make any of these small changes, it has a massive ripple effect in terms of what should naturally be going on. So I know it is difficult and it is sad, but it is nature, and it's important to remember the biggest mistake we as humans make is to intervene with nature. The more we leave nature alone, and if we took every single one of us off the planet right now, the world would be a better place for these animals. And we wouldn't be able to help them then, but we certainly all can and surely must agree that the less we intervene, the better. It's not our job to try and decide what happens out here. It's Mother Nature's plan, and like I say, we've just got to obviously feel sorry for that bull. You can't not feel sorry for that animal, but for us to intervene, it wouldn't be the right thing to do. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to all of you, and a big thanks for following on the safari and sending through all your questions and help. We really do appreciate it. Thanks to Andrew on camera and to Kirsty and Nikki in the final control room. Take one quick look at the moon before we send you off to James and Sindile. See you in the morning. And don't forget, we're going out half an hour earlier.
Hello everybody, just in time. Mr. Sindile is on the move, sort of, more than he has been. There he is, beautiful leopard. And the picture that you're seeing on your screens is a lot brighter than it actually is in real life. The camera's doing a pretty good job of sucking the last of the light out of this day. We'll follow him for a little while. Sorry, Bian. Not making Bian's job easy. Although that has quite a lot to do with Sindile. And if he heads into this thicket, I'm afraid that's going to be the end of that. I hope he catches something good to eat today, this evening at least. He certainly doesn't look skinny, so I think his hunting skills, as I've said many times, are perfectly adequate for this stage of his life. There, you can hear the fiery neck nightjar. Stopped now, of course. There he goes. Right, everybody, I'm going to let him go gently into the night. He's given us a spectacular day, and I'm extremely grateful to him. So all that remains for me now to do is to say farewell. It's been a marvellous day. It started off very cloudy and kind of ominous, and eventually it cleared up sometime during the middle of the day, and it turned into a magnificent afternoon, and we spent it with this magnificent leopard. So a big thank you to Mr. Vion on camera. He's done a spectacular job as usual. He's made me laugh with his slightly sardonic wit. In fact, it's not slightly sardonic, it's extremely sardonic. And on the other vehicle, a big thank you to Scott and Andrew. And in the control room, Nikki and Kirsty. Kirsty on the vocals today. First day out on the job, so well done to her. Eugene knocking about somewhere, not sure where exactly, but fixing bits and pieces. And if you didn't know, we had a guest on board today, and that was young Tara Dales, who got out of the office and got some time in the bush to see what we do. So the last thing remains is for me to remind you that tomorrow we start half an hour early. That's 6 o'clock Central African time, and that will be 12 a.m. Eastern American time, if there is such a thing, but basically on the east coast of America or Canada, you are going to be at 12 a.m. We will start the next safari. Thank you to all of you for your questions and contributions, especially to our young children, I think from various parts of America. Thank you for your questions. We do love to have you on board. So please keep them coming, please keep watching, and I hope that one day you will be able to come out here to this magnificent wilderness. Sindile has melted off into the bush, and so we're going to just follow the camera to where he was, and I'm going to say goodnight to you, and have a wonderful day, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you find yourself on our beautiful planet that we call home. Bye-bye, and see you tomorrow morning.